Fish. It's often called the healthiest meat on the planet. Grilled, baked, steamed, it's light, full of protein, and packed with heart-loving omega-3s. It's the kind of food most doctors recommend, so you might think, the more fish I eat, the better. But here's the shocking truth. Not all fish are safe, especially if you're over 60. In fact, some fish can silently damage your heart, your brain, your kidneys, and even accelerate aging. You see, the older we get, the more sensitive our bodies become to toxins. What used to be harmless in our 30s can now trigger real health risks in our 60s, 70s, and beyond. And unfortunately, certain types of fish, the ones you may even have in your fridge right now, are loaded with contaminants like mercury, industrial chemicals, and dangerous fats. Yes, even fish labeled as healthy or natural may carry risks that most people don't talk about. But today, we will. In this video, we're going to expose 5 specific fish that older adults should never eat at all costs. I'll explain what makes each one risky, and more importantly, I'll give you better, safer alternatives you can enjoy without worry, because eating healthy in your golden years isn't just about adding good foods. It's also about knowing what to leave behind. Let's dive right in. And first on the list is swordfish. Now, you might recognize it by its thick, meaty texture or its bold, steak-like flavor. It's a popular choice in fancy restaurants, on cruise ships, and even at upscale grocery stores. But for older adults, swordfish is one of the most dangerous fish you can put on your plate. Why? One word: mercury. Swordfish is what scientists call a predator fish. It lives long and eats smaller fish its entire life. And because of that, mercury builds up in its flesh over time. A lot of mercury, in fact. According to the FDA, swordfish is among the top 4 most mercury-contaminated fish in the ocean. And here's the real problem. Mercury doesn't leave your body easily. It stays. It builds, and for seniors, whose liver and kidneys may already be under strain, mercury exposure can silently erode your health from the inside out. One of the first symptoms, that foggy, confused feeling you sometimes get, like your brain isn't quite clicking like it used to. You might write it off as normal aging, but studies show mercury can impair memory, focus, and even mood in older adults, mimicking early signs of cognitive decline. Then there's the fatigue. Some people report feeling tired no matter how much they sleep. Others have joint pain, muscle aches, or pins and needles in their hands. Again, all things we often blame on aging, but in many cases, mercury toxicity could be playing a hidden role. And we're not talking about rare cases. In one study, seniors who regularly consumed high mercury fish had significantly higher levels of mercury in their blood, and were more likely to experience memory loss, dizziness, and depression. The worst part: swordfish isn't even that rich in omega-3s compared to other fish. So the risk far outweighs the reward. So what should you do instead if you love rich, flavorful fish? Try wild-caught salmon. It's low in mercury, high in anti-inflammatory omega-3s, and gentle on aging organs. You can also try sardines, especially the skinless, boneless kind. They're one of the cleanest fish available, and they support heart and brain health without the mercury burden. Remember, you don't need to give up seafood, but at this age, every bite needs to count, and it needs to be safe. Swordfish, cross it off your list, because no flavor is worth gambling with your brain, your heart, or your peace of mind. Next on our list is a fish that sounds harmless, even healthy: king mackerel. It's often sold grilled at seafood restaurants, featured in fish tacos, are found canned on store shelves, but don't let the name fool you. When it comes to your health after 60, king mackerel is a silent threat. Just like swordfish, king mackerel is a top of the food chain predator. That means it spends its life eating smaller fish, and along the way, it absorbs everything those smaller fish have eaten, including toxic heavy metals like methylmercury. And methylmercury is no small concern. It's a neurotoxin, one that can do real damage to the brain and nervous system. Especially as we age. For older adults, the risks are even more serious. Let me explain why. As we get older, our bodies naturally slow down. Our liver doesn't detox as quickly. Our kidneys don't filter as efficiently. And our brain becomes more sensitive to inflammation. This creates a perfect storm for methylmercury to do its worst. The result: some seniors may begin experiencing symptoms they think are just part of getting older, like memory slips, mood swings, anxiety, and even tremors or poor coordination. But in truth, these may not be normal aging signs. They may be signs that mercury is affecting the nervous system. The FDA has issued warnings specifically about king mackerel, stating that older adults, pregnant women, and young children should completely avoid it. And yet, many seniors still eat it regularly, simply because they don't know the risks. But mercury isn't the only concern. King mackerel also tends to be high in omega-6 fatty acids, which, when consumed in excess, can cause chronic inflammation throughout the body. And chronic inflammation is a root cause behind heart disease, arthritis, and even some forms of dementia. So what can you do? Do you have to give up all mackerel? Not at all. There are safer, healthier alternatives. One great choice is Atlantic mackerel, a smaller species with much lower mercury levels. It still gives you the benefits of omega-3s, but without the heavy metal load. Another excellent option is sardines, particularly those packed in water or olive oil. They're low on the food chain, which means they carry far less mercury, and they're rich in calcium and vitamin D, which help maintain strong bones as we age. If you're craving variety, try wild-caught salmon or trout. Both are senior-friendly, heart-healthy, and widely available. The key is to choose fish that are smaller, cleaner, and less likely to accumulate toxins. Listen, eating fish can absolutely be part of a healthy lifestyle after 60, but only if you're eating the right fish. King mackerel may look like a great catch, but beneath the surface, it's carrying more than flavor. It's carrying a heavy toxic burden, and that's not something your body needs at this stage in life. So next time you're at the market or reading a menu, pause for a second. If you see king mackerel, choose something else. Your brain, your heart, and your future self will thank you for it. Coming in at number 3 is a fish that many people eat without even thinking twice. Bigeye tuna. It shows up in sushi, poke bowls, grilled steaks, and it's often marketed as lean, high protein, and heart healthy. But here's the truth: for older adults, big-eyed tuna might be one of the most misleading, healthy foods out there. You see, not all tuna is created equal. While smaller species like skipjack or albacore are relatively lower in mercury, big-eyed tuna is one of the highest mercury-containing fish on the market today. And the worst part, it's the kind of tuna that's often used in sushi and canned, premium tuna products. That means many people, especially health-conscious seniors, are consuming it regularly, without realizing they may be slowly poisoning themselves. Mercury toxicity doesn't announce itself with sirens or pain. It creeps in quietly. You may start forgetting words, feeling cloudy in your thoughts, or losing focus during conversations. You may feel exhausted even after a full night's sleep, or notice strange tingling in your fingers or toes. These symptoms are often chalked up to aging, but in many cases, mercury from regular tuna consumption is silently building up in the body. And remember, after 60, our bodies don't eliminate toxins as efficiently as they used to. The kidneys and liver are working harder than ever. Adding more mercury into the mix is like giving an overloaded machine even more to process. Eventually, something gives out. Now here's something most people don't know. Canned tuna is often made from a mix of species. If the label says white tuna, it could be bigeye or albacore. If it doesn't say anything, it's likely skipjack, which is safer, but unless you're reading the fine print, you really don't know what you're getting, and that's dangerous. So what should you do instead? First, limit canned tuna to no more than once per week, and when you do eat it, choose light tuna, which is usually made from skipjack and contains significantly less mercury. If you're eating fresh tuna steaks or sushi, ask about the species. If it's bigeye or yellowfin, it's best to skip it, especially if you eat fish regularly. Try wild-caught salmon, sardines, or even anchovies instead. They're not only safer but also higher in beneficial nutrients like omega-3s and calcium. Another overlooked option is trout, light, flavorful, and low in toxins. It's easy to prepare and gentle on digestion, which is important as we get older. Now, don't get me wrong, tuna isn't evil, but it is misunderstood, and when it comes to bigeye, the risks are just too high to ignore, especially for seniors who want to protect their minds and energy levels. So the next time you're reaching for a tuna sandwich or a sushi platter, stop and think. Do I know where this fish came from? Is it worth the risk? Because when it comes to your brain, your balance, and your clarity, no bite of fish is worth gambling your golden years on. Number 4 may come as a surprise, especially if you've ever picked up a bag of frozen fish on sale at the supermarket. We're talking about basa, also known as pangasius or sometimes just imported catfish. It's cheap, it's mild in flavor, it's available year-round, and because it's so affordable, it shows up everywhere, in frozen fish fillets, cafeteria lunches, even in some fast food fish sandwiches. But here's what most people don't know. This kind of fish is usually raised in overcrowded, polluted aquaculture farms, often in countries where environmental and food safety standards are extremely weak, or virtually non-existent. These fish are grown in shallow, contaminated rivers, often alongside industrial waste. To keep them alive in those conditions, farmers rely on heavy use of antibiotics, antifungal agents, and even chemical growth enhancers, many of which are banned in the United States, and yet, we still import these fish in massive quantities every year. Now imagine putting that on your plate, especially at a time in life when your immune system is more fragile than ever. For older adults, the risks are serious. Chemical residues in basa have been linked to hormonal disruption, liver damage, and even digestive issues like bloating, reflux, or chronic discomfort. Worse yet, many of these chemicals have cumulative effects. They don't leave the body quickly, and over time, they can cause long-term inflammation or metabolic issues. Even the texture of basa is telling. It's often overly soft, watery, and bland, a sign that it's been overly treated and frozen multiple times. There's very little nutritional value left. Unlike wild fish, basa is low in omega-3s, low in protein quality, and provides little benefit to aging bones, brains, or hearts. And here's another concern, because basa is often mislabeled. You may not even know you're eating it. It may be listed simply as whitefish, swai, or river fillet. in restaurants or frozen food sections, so unless you're asking questions, you may be unknowingly eating a fish that your body really doesn't want. So what can you do instead? Look for wild-caught white fish like cod, haddock, or pollock, all of which are much safer, cleaner, and far more nutritious. Even domestic catfish, the kind raised under strict US regulations, is a better option than basa. And yes, these choices may cost a little more, but your health, your peace of mind, and your longevity are worth every penny. Remember, after 60, your body deserves the best, not just what's cheapest or most convenient. So the next time you see a bag of basa on sale, ask yourself, what am I really paying for? Because when it comes to cheap fish raised in dirty water, the price you pay may come later, in the form of fatigue, illness, or a hospital visit that could have been avoided. Basa may look harmless, but for older adults, it's a fish to avoid at all costs. And finally, number 5, and it's a big one, king mackerel. The name sounds impressive, doesn't it? King mackerel. It sounds rich, powerful, even healthy. After all, mackerel is known for its omega-3s, right? But here's where the truth takes a dangerous turn. Not all mackerel is created equal. While smaller species like Atlantic or Spanish mackerel are relatively safe, king mackerel is one of the most mercury-contaminated fish in the ocean today. In fact, it's so toxic that the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, has placed king mackerel on its list of do not eat fish, especially for children, pregnant women, and older adults. And yet, it's still served in some restaurants, still sold in seafood markets, still recommended by people who don't know, or don't care, about the long-term health risks. Here's why king mackerel is so dangerous. This species is a long-lived predator. That means it spends years in the ocean, eating smaller fish, and accumulating mercury with every single bite. By the time it ends up on your plate, it's essentially a mercury bomb wrapped in fish skin. For seniors, mercury exposure is more than just a vague concern. It's linked to cognitive decline, nerve damage, tremors, vision problems, and even heart rhythm abnormalities. And the symptoms are subtle. You may think you're just getting older, feeling foggy or tired, but in reality, it could be mercury slowing down your nervous system, one cell at a time. The problem is, many older adults turn to fish as a healthy protein, and that's smart when the right fish is chosen. But when someone unknowingly eats king mackerel once or twice a week, the damage builds quickly, especially after 60. When the brain is more vulnerable to inflammation and oxidative stress. So how do you avoid this mistake? First, learn the names. King mackerel may also be labeled simply as mackerel or Scomaromorus cavala on some menus or packaging if the fish isn't clearly marked as Atlantic mackerel or Spanish mackerel. You're better off skipping it altogether. Second, choose smarter alternatives. If you enjoy oily fish, go for wild-caught salmon, sardines, or even smaller mackerel species like chub or jack mackerel. These are rich in healthy fats without the mercury overload. And finally, remember this truth: the foods you choose now, at 60, 70, or beyond, matter more than ever. Your body is still capable of healing, rebuilding, and thriving, but only if you give it the right tools. And king mackerel, that's not a tool for health, it's a trap. So the next time you see it on a menu or in a fish counter, walk away. You're not giving up seafood, you're choosing to protect your memory, your balance, your independence, and that is the smartest, most powerful choice a wise adult can make. Now, before we wrap up, there's one more fish we need to talk about. It's not always on the danger list. But it should be, especially for older adults. We're talking about white fish, sold in bulk, frozen packs, or fried at fast food restaurants. You've seen them, packages labeled as fish fillets, fish portions, or white fish cuts. But have you ever stopped to ask, what kind of fish is this? Really, because the answer is often vague or missing altogether. Many of these fillets come from fish like pangasius, tilapia, or swai, farm-raised in countries with poor regulations, polluted water, and the heavy use of antibiotics and growth chemicals. In one investigation, some imported frozen fish tested positive for bacteria resistant to antibiotics. And even traces of industrial contaminants. Now imagine putting that into a body that's already managing blood pressure, cholesterol, arthritis, or a weakened immune system. But it gets worse. Once these mystery fish are breaded, fried, and loaded with sodium, they become a triple threat: low-quality protein, toxic residues, and dangerous oils, all wrapped in golden, crunchy batter designed to hide what's really inside. For seniors, this is a silent health bomb. Regularly eating these processed fish meals can increase the risk of inflammation, high blood pressure, arterial damage, and even cognitive decline over time, all while tricking you into thinking you're eating something light or healthy. So here's the bottom line. If the label doesn't clearly state the species of fish, if it's deep fried and frozen in bulk, if it came from a fast food drive-thru, don't eat it. You deserve better. You deserve clean, real food that supports your body, not burdens it. When in doubt, stick to wild-caught fish with a name you recognize: salmon, sardines, trout, or small mackerel. Ask questions at restaurants. Read the labels. Your health is worth that extra minute. Because after 60, food is no longer just fuel, it's medicine, or it's poison, and the choice is yours. Every single day. Now you know the 5 fishes that may look harmless, but could be silently harming your body, especially after 60. Your health is not just about what you add to your plate, it's also about what you remove, to protect your heart, your brain, your joints, and your future. Every small change you make today can bring more energy tomorrow, more clarity, more strength, more life in your years, not just years in your life. If this video helped you, or opened your eyes to something new, please hit that like button. It helps this message reach more seniors who truly need it. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell, because every week, we bring you new videos on how to stay strong, sharp, and independent as you age. Finally, let us know in the comments, which fish surprised you the most and what healthy swaps are you ready to make starting today. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed, and remember, getting older is not a weakness, it's your superpower, when you choose to live with wisdom.